Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Michael and Dell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98, for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Coming up next weekend in downtown Greenville, it's the 21st Annual Artisphere. We'll check in with Kerry Murphy today, President and CEO of Artisphere, on what to expect in this year's festival. It's that time of the year again. Farmers markets are open with a lot of fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables and other items as well. Lacey Keigley joins us from the Travers Rest Farmers Market this week. And with only 3 days left in the legislative session, there are a lot of important issues the South Carolina General Assembly need to address before going home next Thursday. Diane Hardy, founder of the Mom and Pop Alliance of South Carolina, will be with us today to talk about how those issues affect small business in South Carolina and how you can help by contacting your elected representatives. It's another busy weekend, so let's get started. The Mom and Pop Alliance is a small business advocacy group founded during COVID to help empower South Carolina small businesses. Joining us today is Diane Hardy, the founder of Mom and Pop Alliance. Welcome, Diane. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Always a pleasure. Let's take a minute for listeners who maybe aren't familiar with Mom and Pop for you to talk about the mission and how you came up with the idea and why you feel the need for Mom and Pop Alliance.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, so Mom and Pop Alliance, like you said, during COVID, when it was concerning that they did not have quite the representation I think we deserve down in Columbia. We're all so busy running our businesses. I'm a small business owner with 50 employees, and most people don't have time to be down there paying attention to the bills and advocating. So that's what we do, and we help educate business owners on what's happening, and then we help legislators know what the concerns are of business owners too.
Yeah, and you've been very successful these past number of years since you organized. Now, last year you expanded into 2 organizations. Talk with us about the significance of the need of 2 separate organizations.
Yes, well, we are a statewide organization. And as you know, Joey, I do not take a salary for this work, but we do have expenses. You always have, but there's legal fees and marketing and all that and printing and all. So what we have is we have 2 organizations. One is a nonprofit that's called the Mom and Pop Alliance of South Carolina, and you can find that at momandpopalliance.org. And that is a nonprofit. We provide, educational support, evaluating bills, getting that information out to our members. And then we have Mom and Pop Advocacy, and that is our advocacy group. Because we give our signature popcorn to all of the legislators, we were required to be a registered lobbyist, although we're not a lobbyist in the traditional sense. We're not making money or pushing any, bad agendas or anything. But we do bring popcorn down to all 170 legislators in support of the needs of small businesses on various legislation. And so because of that, we have a separate organization outside of the nonprofit called Mom and Pop Advocacy.
Yeah. With me today, Diane Hardy, founder of Mom and Pop Alliance of South Carolina. That website, again, is momandpopalliance.org. If you are a small business owner, or if you don't own a business, but you just want to support this effort, just go to the website. You can donate. You can become a member as well. Now, Diane, you're very active, and you don't want to use the word lobby. I understand that. Let's just say you advise members of the state legislature on various issues that affect small businesses. Next week is the final days of this year's legislative session. They'll wrap things up on Thursday. If you were to give the legislature a grade this year, how would you grade them?
Oh, Joey, you're putting me in a tough spot here. I don't want to upset the legislature, but overall, there's some really good, hardworking folks down there. There really are. We can't paint with a broad brush. But, as far as the output, maybe a C-.
Okay. Yep.
So,
well, and you wouldn't be, look, I was talking with someone just this past week, I forget who it was, and they were telling me that as of last week, they had only passed like 9 bills.
Yeah, we were disappointed in some of the bills that, of course, the biggest disappointment for small business owners is tort reform or lawsuit reform. It's not surprising with a large majority of trial attorneys, personal injury attorneys down there. But the Senate worked really, really hard to hammer out a bill. It's not as strong as we would have liked, but it's the best we've seen so far. And so we endorsed it, but it does look like the House is going to pass it. So it's just we were close, and it just doesn't look like it's going to come to fruition. I do think the House may pass something, but it's not going to be that probably unlikely it'll be that helpful. We'll see.
Yeah. So talk with us about tort reform and what the Mom and Pop Alliance would like to see, and what's needed out there.
Yeah, well, there's several things that's needed, not being able to venue shop with attorneys, going to but the biggest, when I talk about venue shop, I mean going to certain cities where they can get bigger awards and all that. But the biggest thing, what it really comes down to, is proportional liability. And your listeners may be aware of that. That's where you don't want, a business should only pay for their proportion of the fault of an incident. And right now we don't have that. Where one entity, one business can be on the hook for the entire thing, even if they are only 1 or 10% liable for what actually happened. So it's a really unfair, it's unique to South Carolina. Most states don't do it that way. And getting that proportional liability has been the biggest hurdle.
Yeah. And it is. It's just totally unfair. I've talked about this issue quite a lot over the last few months, and I've heard a lot of horror stories. Heard a story of a convenience store who had sold one alcoholic beverage like at 8 o'clock at night, and the person was involved in an accident at midnight, and there were other people involved, but the convenience store was the only one named in the suit.
And that's what they do. They get to decide who will be named in the suit. And a lot of insurance companies, because they're so terrified of our tort laws in this state, they will settle. So you may not hear about it because they may not all go to court,
right.
But insurance companies always are quick to settle and with larger amounts because of our state laws. And then that costs every single business owner. And sometimes they can't even get insurance, as you're hearing with the bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
So it adds cost, but it even adds cost to us as citizens because they have to put that in somewhere. So the price for a beer is higher and everything has to go up to help compensate for those higher insurance costs because of our unfair laws when it comes to lawsuits.
Yeah. Diane Hardy is with me today. She's founder of the Mom and Pop Alliance. That website is momandpopalliance.org. So let's talk for a minute, Diane, too, about the income tax reduction. Nobody wants to pay any more taxes than they have to. And, of course, the House rolled out a plan that looked very promising a few weeks ago until we realized how it was really going to affect us. And as it turns out, that original plan, over 60% of the people in South Carolina would actually be paying more. Now, I'm told that they've come up with an alternative plan. Tell me what you think about the income tax bill.
Yes, well, we wrote 2 articles about the income tax bill, and you can find our articles at momandpopalliance.org. We write a lot for Fitz News, and so you can go to Fitz News and find our articles. But we wrote 2 articles on that. We came out strongly against the income tax bill. What was tough, too, is it seemed kind of disingenuous to call it a tax cut. Big picture, we don't believe you can really have a true tax cut unless you have a cut in spending. If you don't have a cut in government spending, then really it's just a tax shift. And that's what this was. It sounded great, a 3.99%, and we go down to 2.49% in phase 2, but no details. When they did their press conference, they did not give anyone a copy of the bill, so nobody could ask any questions.
Yeah.
And then when you got into the bill, getting down to 2.49%, the hurdles, we'd have to have over 5% growth for over 10 years straight for that to even happen. So that's just probably completely unrealistic. And you're right, it was a tax increase on the people who could least afford it. A lot of people would pay up to 68% more in their taxes, and it would really hit the lower and middle class.
Yeah. So as I understand it, that they've made some amendments to that. Do you have information on the latest version of that bill, and do you have confidence that it's something that you could support?
Yeah, I don't have it. Everything's happening so fast now. We have not given our views on that yet because it's all changing so quickly. There are 3 different bills down there. I've been told that they thought it would be unlikely for them to be able to get something through this fast. But I know when they're bound and determined to get something, they sometimes make it happen. They did get a committee hearing, which was surprising because they've told us that they did not have time to take up the Senate tort reform bill. They got it on March 27th, and they said, we just do not have time to take up that good Senate bill that we wanted. But this tax bill, they seem bound and determined to get something through. And I wish I had more information on the most recent changes. But like I said, it's just changing hourly sometimes down there.
Yeah. Isn't it a little bit maddening how everything just speeds up these last few days of the session, and when you've had months to kind of go over this, and now all of it's trying to be crammed into the last few days.
Yeah, and especially when you're introducing new things like a brand new tax bill, which is super complex. Yeah. And they're going to try it. They have 3 different brand new bills, and they're going to push something through. And I don't know if it's by design or not, but sometimes it feels like it.
Yeah. Yeah. The Mom and Pop Alliance, again, momandpopalliance.org. Diane, thank you for your time today, and we appreciate what you do, kind of keeping an eye on things in Columbia.
Oh, thank you so much, Joey. Thank you for the opportunity.
Are you ready for this? I dropped over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan, and I never took Ozempic or any of those other weight loss shots. Joey Hudson here. Before you take a drug, here's something you should know. Your body already makes GLP-1. That's the appetite-fighting hormone that these popular drugs copy. But the PhD weight loss program helps your body make it on its own. No side effects, no long-term risk, no major muscle loss, and no rebound weight gain when you stop. Just natural, lasting results. Before Big Pharma was dancing around in commercials, Dr. Ashley Lucas was doing the real work, helping people lose weight naturally and keeping it off, all without hunger or cravings. At PhD Weight Loss, you'll learn what to eat, when to eat, and how to flip your fat-burning switch without a shot. Don't trade your health for a quick fix. You can do this without Big Pharma. You can do this without drugs. Right now, the first 11 callers get 2 weeks free added to their program, 15% off when you fully commit to the program, a free supplemental bundle, and the PhD Get Results Guarantee. Call now, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or online at myphdweightloss.com. As the weather continues to be nice with warm, sunny days, people are starting to think about freshly, locally grown fruits and vegetables and all that come with our local farmers market. On our guest line today, Lacey Keigley is the fundraising coordinator for the Travelers Rest Farmers Market. Lacey, good to have you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, sure thing. So the Travelers Rest Farmers Market opened for the season last weekend, I believe. Tell us what we need to know about that.
Yeah, so it was our unofficial opening last week with our annual plant sale, and then on this Saturday is our grand opening. It's our 15th year, so we've been doing it for a while, and it has grown tremendously. So it's every Saturday from now all the way to the end of September, 8:30 to noon at Trailblazer Park. And we have over 100 vendors weekly coming there, and so you are sure to find, everything you need to eat, to purchase, you're going to find it all there.
Yeah. Let's talk for a minute. You said 15 years. Wow, I didn't realize it had been 15 years. It seems like it just started just a few years ago. Talk with us a little about the history of the Travelers Rest Farmers Market.
Sure, and maybe it doesn't quite seem like 15 because we haven't always been in the same location that we are now. So it started as a really small thing back in the Sunrift parking lot, probably about 15 years ago. And then over the years, it has grown into this really phenomenal nonprofit that actually last year, the farmers, not the market because we're a nonprofit, but the farmers themselves through the summer made over $1 million.
Wow.
And that's all money in the local economy. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal. Do you think, Lacey, that people have just, and particularly I feel like over the past several years, most recently, people just really like the idea of buying from local farmers and locally grown produce and fruits?
I think they definitely like the idea. I think they love the idea. I think there's also something really great about our market, that it's so family friendly, that you're coming out and you're there with your family. And because TR is still a small town, you're meeting your neighbors who you knew they grow vegetables I didn't know, and here they are on Saturday morning. And so you really are buying from people that become your friends. And that, I think, is a huge part of it. You know that you're giving your money back to someone that is, there with on the sidelines of your kids at the soccer game, or, wherever you are in town. And I think that's a big piece of the whole story.
Sure. And this is how it used to be. Back in the day, you kind of bought your produce from the local farmer, your eggs from the local farmer, and we kind of got away from that to a degree with the large markets, but supermarkets and all. But people, again, I just feel like they're coming back to that. You see more and more because farmers markets are really popular. There are a lot of those around the upstate.
Yeah, we have a lot, and I'm really grateful that we have so many, which is fantastic. And yeah, I think you're right. I think we're beginning to see that that's just a better way. A better space and time for our money, and you know what you're buying, the person selling it. And what's really cool about the TR Farmers Market and a lot of our upstate markets, we are a food-forward market. So 70% of what we're doing is food. But we also do have locally made soap, locally made laundry detergent. I mean, you really can replace a huge percentage of what you're buying at the grocery store, you can buy at the market for your regular weekly needs. And that's changing things a lot.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that. With me today, Lacey Keigley with the Travelers Rest Farmers Market. I've been saying fruits and vegetables, but there's a lot more than just fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you can get some of the best pimento cheese I've ever had. You can have homemade peanut butter. It's almost like a homemade version, sort of like a Nutella. There's so much bread. Rise Bakery's there. We have a French bakery new this year down from Hendersonville. That the croissants, oh my goodness, so amazing. There's some tea, a lot of tea offerings, coffee, pies. I mean, the list is long. Like I said, we have over 100 every week. We have more vendors than that, but they rotate. Some of them rotate through. Your meats, you can buy chicken, pork, beef, eggs. I mean, really, all the things you need.
Yeah, wow. Now, Lacey, you mentioned a minute ago about 100 vendors. If someone who is listening today would like to be a vendor, how's that process?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think you said at the beginning, I'm a fundraising coordinator. So my job is to help sponsors connect. Since we are a nonprofit, my job is to help sponsors connect. And so we have a small staff. There's 3 of us right now, and that's grown from last year. It was a staff of 2. So they have done a ton of great work. And so to be a vendor, you're going to reach out to Miranda Williams, and you're going to need to do that a little earlier. I mean, you could still connect now, but it's pretty set for this summer of being a vendor. But still, talking with her is great, getting your name on a list, and then she kind of just works her magic of trying to fit as many people in as she can. There are some rules. You have to have grown your food within a certain radius of TR, and so that's a piece of it, and she'll walk you through all that.
Yeah. Now, you also have some special events in addition to the normal Saturday markets. You have some special events. One of the things that got my attention is your farm-to-table dinner. Tell us about that.
Yes, I'm glad it did. It's pretty fantastic. It's once a year, and it's kind of a big deal. This year, there are 2 farm-to-table dinners, but there's one in the spring and one in the fall. So this one coming up is June 11th. It's held at Topsoil Restaurant there in TR, and it really is farm-to-table. Like, the food is grown really nearby. And you won't know exactly what you're going to be eating until about a week before, because they're going to base it on what's growing, what's in season. And it's about a 4-course meal with a special cocktail, actually a mocktail that's prepared, and then you can do a wine pairing and add-on. And it is a fundraiser. So, you'll hear the ticket price and you'll think, okay, that's a lot of money, but it's a fundraiser with the money going back to farmers. And specifically for this particular event, the money goes directly to what we call our Farmer Fund. It's a pretty remarkable thing that we set up a few years ago, that in the fall, farmers can apply for it if they have a particular need. Last year, it was heavily based on Hurricane Helene recovery. But each year, it's whatever that farmer might need. So they apply for these kind of grants, basically, and the money we're taking from this farm-to-table dinner is going to them. So we've bought people cold storage. We've purchased, all kinds of things that different farmers need repaired, whatever it is. And so that's a big deal. And it's a really fun night. There's only 70 tickets. So it's a really fun night, and you want to get in on it because it's pretty special.
Well, you need to buy your ticket right away then, don't you, if there's only 70? I would imagine,
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 70, and we're about half there right now. So definitely you can buy them at the Farmers Market website, and it's really a neat event. Yeah.
On our guest line, Lacey Keigley, and that website is TraversRestFarmersMarket.com, TraversRestFarmersMarket.com. Lacey is their fundraising coordinator, so I imagine that this is a project that you're very involved with, right?
Definitely am. And also what's amazing about the market is, so many volunteers make it happen. We have a pretty incredible, really involved board, and they make a lot of things happen, and then we have volunteers, which is wonderful because it is a community effort. On most weekends, you might have 3,000 people at Trailblazer Park coming to this market. So it's a big deal, and a lot of people are there, and it takes a lot of work to pull it all together.
Yeah. Lacey, thank you again for your time today, and I wish you great luck this summer. Maybe I'll see you around. My wife and I, we try to come through every so often during the summer. We love the farmers market, so thank you for what you do. And again, if you like additional information, see their schedule and other special events, go to TraversRestFarmersMarket.com, TraversRestFarmersMarket.com. Lacey, have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Coming up next weekend, May 9th through the 11th in downtown Greenville, it's the 21st Annual Artisphere, and on our guest line to give us all the details is Kerry Murphy, the president and CEO of Artisphere. Welcome, Kerry. How are you?
I'm doing great, Joey. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Kerry, it has to be hard for you, as it is to me, to believe that this is the 21st year. What a great success this has been over the years. And before we talk about what you have going on this year, give us a brief history of how this all came about.
Wow. Well, those folks that are native Greenvillians may remember that Greenville did have an arts festival for many years, a successful arts festival that around 2003, operations ended for them, and we quickly went to work creating another art festival because, again, they had such wonderful success and the community was ripe for it. The number of artists in the area were growing. The number of arts amenities in the area were growing. The park, I believe, at the time, the Falls Park Bridge was built in 2004, right before Artisphere happened in spring of 2005. And everything that they've done, the garden club in Falls Park, it's just such a beautiful spot. Couldn't let it go to waste. So, city leaders said we need to put together a new arts festival, and so they did. And we took a bunch of city leaders to some other cities that had successful festivals and really fashioned ourselves out of a number of different shows. Took some best practices from this one and that one, and cobbled together something that worked in our own community and has turned into quite a gem in Greenville's cultural cap, if you will. And it's a great celebration, 3-day outdoor free celebration of visual, performing, and culinary arts that showcases what we have here, as long as giving people exposure to some things they don't always get an opportunity to see.
Yeah, and what a great job you have done, Kerry. It's just, it makes me proud to know that we have something like this in Greenville. Last year was a huge success, and I'm just blown away at how many applications you received. Walk us through that. Tell us about the process for someone to be a part of Artisphere.
Sure. It's actually, there's quite a science to it. So we accept applications in 17 different medium categories: glass, ceramics, wood, painting, watercolor, painting, acrylic, etc., furniture, fiber. And so an artist that is interested in applying for Artisphere, there's a website called zapplication.org that houses art festivals all over the country. And so if you're an art festival artist, you are very familiar with this particular website, and it will let you know the size of the show, the number of artists that apply, the estimated attendance, average artist sales. It really allows artists to do their homework to see if it's a show that is something they want to participate in. So then it's come a long way, the application process, Joey. They used to send us actual slides that you would put in those slide projectors, those carousels, with a self-addressed returned envelope that we would have to send them back. But it became a digital process in the mid-2000s, I believe. So now artists submit their applications. They submit 4 images of their work and an image of what their exhibit is going to look like. And so they apply in their respective medium categories. They put information like the size of the piece, the price of the piece, the title of the piece, and they tell us what their process is. So then we hire a panel of professionals, and they come from all walks of the art world. They're arts educators, they're working artists, gallerists, curators, museum curators, all sorts of things. So we assemble that panel. They come into Greenville, and we project the images by category for 2 days, and they score them. Now, they don't know who the artists are. It's completely blind in that there's no name, there's no information about where they come from, if they've ever done the show before, so it is completely unbiased. And then we take the top scores across those 17 different categories so that we have a nice balance of mediums. And then we communicate with the artists if they've been accepted. We also have a very robust wait list in the event that anybody has to cancel. So it's a very, very competitive show. And artists love to get into Artisphere. Not only is downtown Greenville a beautiful backdrop for an arts festival, the community is so hospitable, and we treat them pretty good when they get here, too. We feed them, and we give them parking, and the hotels are fantastic to help us out with some discounted rates for them for the weekend. So again, if that weather holds out, it's going to be a spectacular weekend for artists and patrons alike.
No. When the weather holds out, not if. It's when.
Amen. I'll go that route. But I would like to mention too, Joey, talking about the success of the festival, we had an amazing presenting partner for 20 years in TD Bank that really helped catapult Artisphere to the success story it is today, and we are so delighted that Prisma Health has picked up that baton and is carrying the torch for us. This is their first year as our presenting sponsor, and it is it's proven to be a really exciting and fruitful and really synergistic partnership. So that's going to be an interesting change, probably none that the average patron would notice, but certainly one that behind the scenes we've really been working with them to make it a win-win for both of us.
Sure. Well, and that's very important. I mean, these types of things, it takes the whole community chipping in to make them successful. So kudos to Prisma for stepping in and helping you guys out. With me today, Kerry Murphy. We're talking about Artisphere coming up next weekend. You can find out additional information at artisphere.org. See the entire lineup and as far as what will be happening next weekend. Now, Kerry, I was looking at your website and just looking at last year's, and we talk about the process of how these folks are chosen, and I was just astounded at some of the numbers. A record total of $2.6 million in artist sales, attendance of over 100,000. But here's the big one: the economic impact of the area, over $14 million. Those are some huge numbers.
That's correct. We are super proud of that. We work really hard to advertise the festival outside of this market, to bring visitors to the area, to come and experience Greenville, everything it has to offer, not just the cultural scene, but all of the fantastic restaurants and retail shops in the downtown area. And we work with Clemson's Real Economic Analysis Laboratory to capture that economic impact data. And it's grown over the past few years exponentially as, Visit Greenville has done such an amazing job to showcase all that Greenville has. Visitors are coming in, especially on, beautiful spring weekends and throughout the rest of the year, and really making a tremendous impact on our local economy.
Yeah, and obviously you've done a great job because you landed on the USA Today's 10 Best Readers' Choice, #1 Best Artist Festival in USA Today's Readers' Choice. I mean, that's a big deal too.
We were super proud of that. There are a few other credentials that we've racked up over the years. They've been really based on artist sales, which is particularly important to us, right? I mean, we certainly want artists to have a great experience at Artisphere. And a lot of the categories that they are interested in, like you mentioned, that 2.6 million in artist sales. Artists want to go where people are buying artwork, and their average art sales year after year, and the average price per piece just continues to grow. But even though, their sales continue to grow, I do want to emphasize there is a price point out there on the street for absolutely everybody. And I also want to impress upon people that, this is a fine arts festival, but I mean, it couldn't be more of a casual atmosphere for you to engage with creators, art makers, artists, learn about their process. I mean, they're sitting in a director's chair on the asphalt in the middle of a street under a tent, for gosh sakes. I mean, they are there to talk to you. They love to talk to you and tell you about their process. But they love to come to Greenville. And like I said, we're delighted with the accolades that we receive because the community is so deserving of it. I mean, we may be the ones that are doing the legwork behind the scenes, but it takes the sponsors and the volunteers and the board of directors and help from city and all of their departments and the patrons to come out to make it the success that it is to land at number one in USA Today 10 Best Readers contest. Yeah.
Sure. So, Kerry, talk with us about next weekend. And if someone, let's just assume there's a listener out today who's never been to Artisphere. So talk with us about where to park and all the details that someone who's totally new to Artisphere would need to know.
Well, if you don't already subscribe to our email list, please do so. Go on to artisphere.org because we send out some great information via email, but we also put information out on our social media, and our website is a great resource, the frequently asked questions. There are some road closures. You can find those on our website as well as the City of Greenville's website. There's plenty of garage parking in downtown, and, there's a lot of surface parking for folks. It is all very accessible. If you do need handicap accessibility, you're welcome to pull up close to those road closures. Police officers are happy to get you as close as possible to the festival site so that you can easily get on the site and enjoy yourself. There's food, there's kids' activities, there's activities for adults as well. There's an art lab where the Greenville Center for Creative Arts is leading some demonstrations and some workshops for everybody to try their hand at the creative process. Those demonstrations are so engaging. It pulls the curtain back. People get to see, how things are made from glass blowing and metalworks and wood and ceramics and all sorts of things. So plenty of shopping to be done, of course, plenty of crafts for kids to make. Everything's free, of course. The crafts, that is, of course, the artist booths, you're going to need to bring your pocketbook.
Yep.
But there's plenty of things for art connoisseurs and just art, folks that are curious about art to enjoy. Plenty of stages. There's 3 stages with performing arts from theater, dance, musical acts that are local, regional, national. We have 3 pop-up stages. I love this term, Joey. Street performers are now considered atmospheric entertainment. So there's plenty of atmospheric entertainment, all sorts of things to entertain the crowds. I heard an artist explain it when I was visiting another art festival, I believe in Virginia. He was telling his neighbor at an art show who had never been to Artisphere that it is both a fine arts festival and a community event. And I really loved that description because, like I said, there's food, there's music. I mean, Greenville has a amazing food scene, and we've got local restaurants out there over the course of the weekend. It is just a wonderful showcase of everything, Greenville has to offer, not just cultural amenities, but, bringing together people, bringing the community together in meaningful ways to have these fantastic experiences around the arts. Just, it's what makes Greenville special.
Yeah, that is for sure. Kerry Murphy is my guest today. Again, that website is artisphere.org, and you can get all the details there. And what I love about it, Kerry, is, yes, you can see a lot of beautiful art, and people can just be so creative with their crafts. And there's a price point, as you mentioned, for everyone. But I also like the fact that you can watch how they do these things and some of the workshops. I noticed there's going to be a birdhouse building workshop. I mean, that just sounds so cool to me. I'm assuming that you'll learn how to make birdhouses.
You'll be able to see how it's made as well as be able to decorate it and take one home for Mom. That's
Yes.
one of the free crafts. And by the way, it is Mother's Day. I can't believe we've talked all this long and I didn't mention it's
Right.
Mother's Day. What an amazing way to, treat Mom for the weekend. Kids can make free crafts either in Kidsphere or that birdhouse making. There's plenty of other crafts on the street. Mom can enjoy herself in the arts and drafts. Grab herself a little drink while, Dad and the kids go and find something for Mom for Mother's Day. And I love, too, that I've talked to so many folks that have made Artisphere their Mother's Day tradition.
Yeah. One final thing before we go today, Kerry. This is all great. I mean, it's a fun weekend, fun for the entire family, and I want to stress that. I mean, there's something for everyone at Artisphere, but it also really supports the community in a lot of different ways because Artisphere, you guys give back. You have awarded grants to a lot of different organizations like the South Carolina Children's Theater, Greenville Chorale, and others. Talk with us about that for a moment.
We actually have, since the festival's inception in 2005, returned more than $900,000 to the community in the way of contributions, stipends to artists, awards to artists. It does not happen without, the entire community support. And so we want to recognize that and reward that and do our part to give back to the community. So we're just delighted that we're able to do that. And $900,000 in 20 years, we're super proud of that. And it's also part of our mission, Joey, I should mention, we have installed since the festival's inception 5 pieces of public art that we dedicate to the city. Yeah. The one last year in 2024, Gilly and Mark's Tandem Lovers, is actually a piece that people have really enjoyed being a part of. It's a great photo op. It's a rabbit woman and a dog man on a bicycle, and there's an empty seat behind them for someone to get on that seat and take a picture with that piece of art. It's a fun bronze piece that people have really enjoyed for the past year. So giving back to the community that supports us and lifts us up is really so much a part of our mission. So we're thrilled to be able to do it.
Yeah. Kerry Murphy, thank you for your time. And look, we can't wait to see you guys next weekend.
Thanks, Joey. We can't wait to see you guys either.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.